The day before the joint entrance exam, someone tampered with the water I drank. My best friend successfully surpassed me and took the only guaranteed admission spot. My childhood friend comforted me. It's okay, you still have another chance with the college entrance exam. But on the day of the college entrance exam, I was kidnapped, and my childhood friend missed the exam trying to save me. To repay his kindness, I married him. Years later, my best friend, now a prestigious graduate, showed up glamorously at my wedding, but I accidentally overheard a conversation between my childhood friend and her. Ran, thanks to you, she missed both exams, otherwise, I'd never have been able to marry her. Sue Ran sneered sarcastically, who told her she's the daughter of my dad's ex-wife. If I don't crush her into the mud, how can my mom get one over on that old hag? In a rage, I drove my car into them, crippling them both, and was sentenced to death. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. Back to my senior year of high school. 1. Nan, let me get you some water. While it's break time, you can still go over 2 more big problems. Sue Ran stood in front of me, her voice timid. Without waiting for my reply, she took the empty cup from my desk. My childhood friend He Jing walked over from the last row and sat down next to me. Nan, Ran is really good to you. She's always second place. Yet she's willing to give up her break time so you can study. The way he said it made it sound like I was taking huge advantage of Sue Ran. The classmates around us looked over with mixed expressions. Someone whispered, "Is Shen Nan bullying the school beauty? Aren't they childhood friends?" I feel like the school beauty is so submissive around her. Growing up together makes it easier to get manipulated. He Jing listened to these words, a flicker of a smile in his eyes, but he pretended to be angry and shouted at them, "Shut up, Nan isn't like that." When they fell silent, He Jing looked at me with deep affection. Nan, no matter how many people misunderstand you, I'll always be on your side. Psycho. 2. I didn't even bother to acknowledge He Jing, not even lifting my eyelids. Last life. It was this day, I drank the water Sue Ran got for me, got so dehydrated I passed out, and missed the joint entrance exam entirely. Without me as a competitor, Sue Ran went from being the eternal second place to scoring first. The homeroom teacher told me regretfully, "Teacher knows your ability, but the school has its rules, and they can't be changed. You missed the exam. According to the rules, the guaranteed admission spot goes to Sue Ran." Including, the homeroom teacher knew my background and how much I cared about the reward behind this joint exam's first place. Her voice trembled, reluctant to continue, "Including the privilege of full tuition for 4 years of college, that goes to Sue Ran too." 3. I'm an orphan, abandoned since I was little. He Jing's grandmother picked me up. The He family wasn't well off. Grandma He took me in to be He Jing's child bride. That way, He Jing wouldn't have to spend money on a wife when he grew up. I did everything in the He household, washing clothes, cooking, feeding the chickens, raising the pigs, but I never had enough to eat or wear. Thankfully, 9 years of compulsory education were universal. The village party secretary brought the police to the He house, and only then could I go to school. Middle and high school tuition was free. I just had to pick up odd jobs in my spare time to earn some living expenses, but college tuition was expensive. These 3 years, I studied hard just for the reward behind this joint exam. Full tuition for 4 years of college. The He family wouldn't pay for my college, and they didn't want me to go either. They were afraid that if I went to college and saw the world, I wouldn't agree to marry He Jing, so they did everything they could to keep me trapped in this poor, backward mountain area. For, in my last life, after I missed the joint exam, I went back to school to get my cup for a hospital test, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I went with my homeroom teacher to check the classroom surveillance, but I was told the cameras had been broken a week earlier. The last footage showed He Jing playing basketball in the classroom. The ball bounced up and smashed the camera. I had suspected He Jing with all these coincidences, until he gave up the college entrance exam to find me. My doubts faded. But who would have thought it was all his own act, just to make me owe him for life? He knew he wouldn't pass the college entrance exam. He couldn't even focus on studying anyway. He was terrified that I'd get into a good university, climb the social ladder, and leave him behind, so he teamed up with Sue Ran to sabotage my future. 5. Sue Ran placed the cup of water on my desk, having filled it at the cooler. She gave me a timid smile, her eyes full of cautious fawning. Nan, I mixed half hot and half cold water. It's just right now, you can drink it. My eyes stayed glued to the test questions. I grunted, too lazy to look at her. She bit her lip, and her eyes instantly reddened. Nan, did I do something wrong? You're so cold to me. Sue Ran was popular in class, with her stunning looks. Plenty of people had her back. class president, what's your deal? The school beauty doesn't owe you anything, she got you water. And you're acting all dismissive, can't you even say thank you? I didn't lift my head. Thanks. The people ganging up on me choked on their words. Sue Ran froze too. The bell for the next class rang. Sue Ran had no choice but to return to her seat. Frustrated, I glanced at my cup, then at the identical one on Sue Ran's desk. Sue Ran and He Jing grew up in the same village, but her family was a bit better off than the He family. A lot of my stuff was hand-me-downs from Sue Ran after she was done with them. For that, I always felt grateful, even though she loved to chirp in front of everyone. The clothes Nan Nan is wearing, I gave them to her. They were too loose on me, but they fit her perfectly. There were too many comments like that. Back in elementary school, my classmates mocked me for being a beggar, treating Sue Ran's leftovers like treasures. By middle and high school, she'd buy 2 of everything she liked and then give 1 to me. If I refused, she'd give it to Grandma He. I thought I'd finally shaken off the beggar label, only to get called a copycat. Instead, I always paid her back with the money I earned from part-time jobs. I didn't want to owe her anything. I always believed that no one is perfect, everyone has flaws, no one is without fault. When judging actions, look at the deed, not the intent. If you judged by intent alone, no one would be perfect, whatever her motives were. At least she gave me clothes to wear and a cup to use. But I only learned the truth right before I died. It turned out I was her half-sister from the same father. Her malice wasn't just in my head after all. 6. From the small mirror, I saw Sue Ran's venomous glare fixed on my cup. I deliberately picked up the lid and unscrewed it. Her pupils dilated slightly, and the corner of her mouth twitched with excitement. The next second, I tightened the lid again. Her pupils contracted. She clenched her jaw, her fingers digging into her palms. For the entire class, I toyed with her nerves like that, over and over. By the time class was almost over, her once clear eyes were bloodshot, her body couldn't stop trembling. I found it almost funny. With that kind of nerve, she dared to do bad things. When the bell rang, Sue Ran shot up from her seat. I instantly grabbed my cup, tilted my head, and pretended to take a few gulps. Only then did she sit back down, exhaling in relief. I capped the cup, rested my head on the desk, and faked a nap. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her drag He Jing out of the room. While they were gone, I poured the water from my cup into an empty water bottle and stashed it in my backpack. I put the empty cup back on my desk. When Sue Ran returned, she deliberately walked past me and picked up my cup. The lighter weight made her unable to hide her glee. Nan Nan, let me get you some more water. With that, she grabbed my cup and ran out, laughing. 7. During the next class, I pretended to clutch my stomach, grimacing in pain and letting tears fall. In the mirror, I saw Sue Ran's lips curl up as she exchanged a glance with He Jing in the back row. Seeing the timing was right, I couldn't hold back anymore. I clutched my stomach and stood up to ask the English teacher for leave. Teacher, my stomach suddenly hurts so much. The English teacher was my favorite teacher and also my homeroom teacher. In my past life, he went out of his way to pull strings for me. Even at the very end, when I missed the college entrance exam, he still came to the He family's house to find Grandma He, offering to fund my retake. But Grandma He hit him on the head with a broom and kicked him out. Not only that, Grandma He even went to the school and made a huge scene, claiming that the homeroom teacher had designs on me. This led to the homeroom teacher being suspended and bombarded with complaints and insults from parents. Yet, even so, when He Jing took me south to work, the homeroom teacher still sent me a message to encourage me. Shen Nan, you missed the college entrance exam, but you haven't missed your entire life. You can return to school later through self-study exams for adults. Or do something else. Life is long, never give up on yourself. Now, seeing me drenched in sweat and crying uncontrollably in such a pathetic state, the homeroom teacher immediately contacted the school clinic to have me taken there. I've experienced the agony of dehydration in my past life, so this time, pretending came effortlessly. Sue Ran and He Jing came to see me, and after watching me run back and forth to the bathroom with a pale face, they finally felt relieved enough to go back to class. During the last evening study session, I asked the homeroom teacher for leave to be hospitalized at an outside clinic. The homeroom teacher lamented in the classroom, how could this happen? Shen Nan ends up in the hospital at such a critical time, and tomorrow is the joint exam. No, I have to go see her. After the homeroom teacher left, Sue Ran and He Jing were overjoyed. On the way back, Sue Ran was even humming a tune. The next morning, I didn't show up for the early study session. Seeing my seat empty, Sue Ran felt a weight lift from her heart. Our exam locations were at different schools. Because I was sick, the homeroom teacher, worried about me, personally drove me to and from the exam venue. Only after the exam ended did I return to school. Seeing me, Sue Ran couldn't wait to walk over and said with feigned sadness, "Nan Nan, what a shame, how did you miss the exam?" I smiled. "It's okay. There's still the college entrance exam," she sighed, then said smugly on purpose, "This joint exam involves recommendations and full tuition waivers, you know." The bell for class rang, and she returned to her seat, only to find a note under her cup. Had gotten up early that morning, imitating He Jing's handwriting, and written, "Enjoy slowly, Ran." I poured all the water I had swapped out from the mineral water bottle that day into Sue Ran's cup. She picked up the cup and drank, a sweet smile on her lips. 8. When He Jing walked past Sue Ran carrying a basketball, Sue Ran's cheeks flushed as she winked at him. He Jing scratched the back of his head in confusion and smiled back. Sue Ran became even more certain that the note was from He Jing. Within less than a class period, Sue Ran had finished the entire cup of water. When class ended, she just got up to go find He Jing when she suddenly clutched her stomach, collapsed to her knees, and started convulsing. She held her stomach, crawled up from the floor, and ran to the bathroom. She didn't come back for 2 whole class periods. The homeroom teacher sent someone to find her. They eventually found her in the hallway outside the bathroom. She was dehydrated and unconscious, just like me in my past life. He Jing frowned as he watched Sue Ran being carried out. He walked up to me and asked, "Nan Nan, how come Sue Ran's condition is so similar to yours, only much worse?" His voice wasn't low, and many in the class heard it. "Yeah, class monitor. Did you infect the school beauty? Don't infect us, okay? The college entrance exam is coming up soon. We can't afford to get sick. Shen Nan, if you're sick, just drop out and go home. Don't hold everyone back. Who doesn't know you're an orphan and dirt poor? Who knows if it's some contagious disease you can't afford to treat? The school beauty probably got infected from being too close to you." Accusations and insults came one after another. I looked at He Jing, but he showed no sympathy for me. His mood improved with every insult and humiliation directed at me. He Jing always says he loves me, that I'm the most important person in his life, but his love always puts me in humiliating situations. When the classmates saw the homeroom teacher walk in at that moment, they immediately said, "Teacher, Sue Ran's condition is exactly like Shen Nan's. Shen Nan must have infected her. We're about to take the college entrance exam. What if she infects us? Make her drop out. Or we'll all call the education bureau to protest." He Jing loved putting me in a position where everyone despised me. Every time this happened, he would appear like a hero descending from the sky, standing in front of me, shielding me from harm. But all this trouble, it was clearly brought on by him. I watched his act with cold eyes. Sure enough, the next second, he stepped in front of me, his back to me. "What nonsense are you guys spouting? Nan Nan isn't an orphan. She's already been adopted by my family. I won't allow you to talk nonsense. Nan Nan doesn't have any illness. Last time, she just had an upset stomach." Sue Ran looked like she had an upset stomach too. Food poisoning symptoms. He Jing turned around and looked at me tenderly. "Nan Nan, as long as I'm here, no one will bully you." The classmates wanted to speak, but the homeroom teacher slammed the book on the desk. "Do you have proof? Proof that Shen Nan infected Sue Ran? Can you just spout nonsense without evidence? All these years of studying, have they gone to waste in a dog's stomach?" The classroom fell into dead silence. Someone couldn't help but mutter quietly, "But their symptoms are clearly the same." The homeroom teacher raised her voice. "The night Sue Ran got sick, I personally accompanied her to the hospital for 4 fluids and all kinds of tests. Don't you think I know whether she's sick or not? I pulled out the test report from that day. Everyone, take a good look. After you're done, the few who were barking just now, remember to apologize to me." After the classmates passed it around, they reluctantly shut their mouths. The report ended up in He Jing's hands. It clearly showed that I had no illness at all. The homeroom teacher said angrily, "Shen Nan just had pre-exam syndrome, causing stomach pain and needing the bathroom. How is that the same as Zhou Ran?" No one spoke anymore. After He Jing read the report, the smile in his eyes instantly faded. He jerked his head up, staring at me in disbelief. I met his gaze with cold eyes. My stare sent a chill down his spine. "Nan Nan, you..." My eyes were filled with disgust. "He Jing, get as far away from me as possible. You truly make me feel nauseous." With that, I returned to my seat and started doing practice problems, leaving He Jing to be scrutinized by the classmates and the homeroom teacher. The homeroom teacher said unhappily, "He Jing, Shen Nan is the hope of the entire school. If she gets into college, how many younger students will she inspire? can you stop holding her back? I'm begging you, okay, her score is 3 times yours plus a third. How do you even have the nerve? He Jing's face turned pale, and he staggered back to his seat. All day long, his gaze followed me like a ghost. When classmates called him to go to the hospital to see Su Ran, he didn't go. He Jing and I were different. I got into this high school by passing the exam, while his family paid to squeeze him in. Before he transferred here, everyone knew I was an orphan, but no one ever mocked or laughed at me. They even crowd-funded donations for me and encouraged me to study hard. But after He Jing arrived, any guy who got close to me, he would go up to them and say, I was picked up by his grandmother, I was his child bride, I was destined to marry him. Since I ate the food of the He family, I belonged to the He family. In high school, everyone's life was pretty dull, especially in a key high school. Endless tutoring, endless test papers. Under such intense pressure, this kind of gossip spread like wildfire through the entire grade. I became the laughingstock of everyone. Whenever they saw me, they'd tease He Jing, your child bride is here. The laughter humiliated me, and my fragile self-esteem was trampled underfoot, ground into the dirt. But He Jing loved it. With Su Ran fanning the flames, everyone's impression of me turned sour. They said I was jealous of Su Ran's beauty and bullied her. The label of copycat clung to me like a nightmare I couldn't shake, haunting my youth. Getting out of this mountain, escaping this county town, that became my only hope for surviving high school. 11. When school let out in the afternoon, He Jing came to find me, using his usual tricks. To be fair, He Jing was pretty good looking. He knows his advantage well. He's very good at playing the pitiful card in front of me. Every time, before I even feel sorry for him, some other girl would step up to defend him. Nan, Grandma made dinner and said she's waiting for you to come home and eat. I packed my books into my school bag. I'm not going back. He Jing, I'm never going back from now on. A flicker of panic flashed in his eyes. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. I pulled out a form stamped with the relevant department's seal and handed it to him. It clearly stated the termination of the adoption relationship. He Jing, I have nothing to do with the He family anymore, and I have nothing to do with you either. If you ever again falsely claim I'm your child bride or that I'll marry you in the future, I'll sue your grandmother for child trafficking and illegal confinement. He Jing stared at the words on the form, his lips trembling. Shen Nan, how can you do this? My grandma raised you from such a young age. How can you be so ungrateful, and you even slander her like this? More and more students gathered around to watch the commotion. School let out for a day and a half every Friday, and many students from other classes came to ours to wait for friends. Now, both inside and outside the classroom, it was packed with onlookers. He Jing's voice was loud, and they all heard it. The voices condemning me rose again. He Jing wasn't good at studying, but he was a master of twisting the truth. He always put people on a moral high ground to blame them, then placed himself in the most innocent position. I sneered coldly. Your grandma took me in just to save the bride price she'd have to pay when you grew up and got married. When I came to your house, I was 4 years old and had to stand on a stool to learn how to cook. I didn't even have a decent piece of clothing to wear. In the dead of winter, my feet were frozen purple, while you could sit by the fire. When it was time for school, you got to go, but I had to stay home cutting pigweed and feeding the chickens. The village party secretary came several times, saying compulsory education meant I had to go to school, but your grandma wouldn't even register my household registration, afraid I'd run away. In the end, the village party secretary said your grandma had no legal adoption relationship with me and threatened to send me to an orphanage. Your grandma was scared I'd run, so she finally registered my household. Only then, after the police came, could I go to school. I was only 16 when I started high school. He Jing flushed with shame and anger, suddenly glaring at me and roaring viciously. Shut up, I sneered, completely unafraid, but my eyes grew redder as I spoke. Why should I shut up? Weren't you just calling me ungrateful? Weren't you saying your grandma raised me, when I was only 14? Your grandma locked you in my room in the middle of the night. She wanted you to force yourself on me, to take my body, so I couldn't escape and would have to marry you. If I hadn't stabbed myself with scissors and scared you off, I would have been ruined by you and your grandma long ago. Don't you think that because this involves my reputation, I'm a girl, I have face to save, I'd be too embarrassed to speak up, so you've been acting without restraint? He Jing, I don't care about face anymore, I just want to study hard for college and live my life properly. You say your grandma raised me. Has she ever spent a single cent of her own money on me? My tuition and living expenses are all waived. I work odd jobs in my spare time. When I go back to your house, I do all the chores, and your grandma even takes my money. What kindness or righteousness have your family ever shown me? I pressed forward step by step, my words ringing with conviction. The classroom, which had been quiet, suddenly erupted with curses aimed at He Jing. Have you no shame, He Jing? After all the things you've been saying outside, you made everyone think you and the class monitor were a couple, but it turns out it was all in your head. Isn't this just human trafficking? The class monitor has such good grades, and He Jing, look at yourself, you toad. The class monitor has it worse than a child laborer. Insults rained down on He Jing one after another. After all, he was just a high school senior. At an age where face and pride mattered most, he kicked over a nearby desk, let out a guttural roar of frustration, pushed through the crowd, and ran out. The desk belonged to the sports monitor. The sports monitor grabbed He Jing by the back of his collar. What's wrong with you, He Jing? You're pissed off and you kick my desk. Don't you have your own desk? He Jing slammed his fist into the gym monitor's face. Let go of me, you bastard. The two of them started brawling, inevitably dragging in the nearby classmates. The male students who had always disliked He Jing jumped into the fray. Soon, it escalated from a one-on-one fight to a full-on group brawl. He Jing's pained shouts rang out, but I acted as if I hadn't heard. Calmly packing my things, I slung my backpack over my shoulder and slipped out through the back door, only to run into the homeroom teacher standing at the entrance. He looked at me with a complicated expression. I had no idea how long he had been listening. I opened my mouth, then dropped my gaze. Having lived 2 lives, I still felt ashamed before this mentor of mine. He had placed such high hopes on me, sparing no effort to help me over these 3 years. The 9-year compulsory education only covered my tuition, but there were still living expenses and textbook fees at school, especially the cost of printing exam papers at this key high school. It was a huge burden for me. In my past life, I thought the homeroom teacher had begged the principal multiple times to waive my living expenses, textbook fees, and printing costs. It wasn't until years later, when I returned home and ran into a retired teacher from the school, that I learned the truth. The principal had only agreed to waive my living expenses. The rest of the fees had been secretly covered by the homeroom teacher himself. And that wasn't all. When he found out that I spent my 1 day off each week doing odd jobs, grueling manual labor, he knew. He invited me to his home to tutor his elementary school son, paying me for it. Funny, isn't it? I didn't understand this until I grew up. The homeroom teacher had been teaching for years. Couldn't he handle teaching a kid in elementary school? He was clearly doing everything he could to help me, yet he still considered my fragile teenage pride. Now, living a second life, I met his gaze, and my eyes stung with emotion. He reached out and patted my shoulder. Shen Nan, a golden phoenix can rise from the mountains, and a parasol tree grows in the valley. You will definitely live the life you want. His eyes were a little red. I glanced at the classmates nearby. Their gazes held either shame or guilt, but none of them showed any mockery. 12. That night, I was sound asleep in the dormitory. The dorm supervisor called me down to answer the phone. On the other end was He Jing's trembling, aggrieved voice. Nan Nan, don't hang up. I have something to say to you, you know, don't you? Su Ran drugged you, but that had nothing to do with me. Nan Nan, you can't take it out on me. I suppressed my disgust. Does being an accomplice make you innocent? His voice choked up. Nan Nan, I was just afraid you'd leave me. I was scared that once you got into a good college and met new people, you'd abandon me. I really can't live without you. I let out a cold laugh. He Jing, I was never with you to begin with. Can you stop being so delusional? He gasped sharply. You're still mad at me, aren't you? And the college entrance exam. Nan Nan, the top 10 scorers still get their tuition sponsored. Even if no one sponsors you, I'll earn money to put you through school. Nan Nan, I'll show you how determined I am to make it up to you. Before he could say another word, I hung up. 13. When Su Ran returned to school, she cornered He Jing during break. I was in the hospital these past few days. Why didn't you come see me? He Jing glanced at me, then snapped at her impatiently, trying to distance himself. Can you just stay away from me? Su Ran's eyes instantly reddened. What do you mean? If it weren't for the water you handed me, I wouldn't have gotten sick. He Jing shoved her away. Are you crazy? Who gave you water? He looked at me pleadingly. Nan Nan, I really never gave her any water. I chuckled, ignoring him. Su Ran caught on and stormed over to me in 2 or 3 steps, grabbing my wrist tightly. It was you, wasn't it? I slapped her hand away hard. I don't know what you're talking about. Su Ran fumed. Are you getting back at me? Why would I get back at you? What did you do that deserves revenge? So hard to guess. Su Ran raised an eyebrow. glanced at He Jing, who turned his head away. She let out a cold laugh. "Shen Nan, aren't you afraid I'll call the police? You'll ruin your whole life." I smiled slightly. "Then go check the surveillance footage." He Jing was so guilty he couldn't even look at me, and he slipped out through the back door. In the classroom, only Su Ran and I were left. Su Ran crossed her arms and looked down at me from above. Who would have thought? "Shen Nan, you've been putting on a good act all these years. I never expected that being vengeful and petty was your true face. But what's the point of getting back at me? You still missed the joint exam. The first place is mine, the school's only recommendation spot is mine, and the full tuition waiver for 4 years of college is mine too. Honestly, I don't even need the joint exam rewards, but I know it's your lifeline. So I just didn't want you to have it. You can just rot in this small place for the rest of your life." I let out a careless laugh. "Is that so? We'll see." Su Ran lifted her chin and let out a contemptuous snort. "Keep pretending." The joint exam results came out during evening self-study. The homeroom teacher placed the printed score sheet on the podium. He smiled warmly, holding his thermos. "Come up and take a look." Su Ran sat smugly in her seat, motionless, staring at me with provocation in her eyes. I took a sip of water and didn't move either. I let the other students crowd around the podium to look at the score sheet. Su Ran waited for the students to gasp her name, but what came instead was, "The gap between first and second place is huge, over 100 points apart." My God, Su Ran couldn't suppress the smile on her lips. But then, the next second, "The class monitor is amazing. The school beauty isn't even close." Su Ran's face flushed red as she stood up. "What are you saying? That's impossible." She shoved her classmates aside like a madwoman, rushed to the podium, grabbed the score sheet, and stared at it over and over again. No matter how many times she pounded her head, closed her eyes, and opened them again, all she saw were the words, "Shen Nan." Her hands trembling, she looked at me in utter collapse, her eyes bloodshot. She ran up to me and raised her hand to hit me. "You tricked me, Shen Nan, you tricked me." I grabbed her hand and said coldly in her ear, "You know why I didn't pay you back in kind on the day of your joint exam? Because I have enough strength to crush you, to make you understand the gap between you and me. Su Ran, you're just not good enough. You have to accept that." I let go of her hand, and she collapsed to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably, just like I did in my past life. In my past life, after missing the joint exam and waking up, my world collapsed. Everything felt pitch black. Luckily, there was still the college entrance exam, but after missing that too, I just wanted to die. Later, He Jing and I went south to work, and I kept studying for self-taught exams, the questions from the joint exam and college entrance exam that I missed that year. In the years that followed, I could recite them backward, because that was the life I had missed. 14. After He Jing finished his sports training and found out I got first in the joint exam, he froze for a few seconds, then fell silent. He didn't break down and scream like Su Ran, but I got an unexpected visitor, Su Ran's father. In the principal's office, this man smiled at me. He ran a big supermarket in the city, and his hometown was just a few steps away from the He family's place. I had called him Uncle Su for 18 years. He watched the He family abuse me, watched me almost become a blacklisted person, and never gave me a shred of pity. From the gossip of the villagers, I pieced together the story of Su Wenyuan's ex-wife. My mother, hemorrhage, died in childbirth, both mother and child gone less than half a month after her death. Su Wenyuan brought home a woman who was heavily pregnant and about to give birth. That woman was Su Ran's mother. After the principal left, only Su Wenyuan and I remained in the office. He looked at me and smiled, his face full of affection. "You've grown up, really accomplished. You're the first kid from our village to get into a top university. Truly impressive." The more he looked at me, the more satisfied he seemed, not like he was looking at a daughter, but at his own pride, his trophy. I said coldly, keeping my distance, "Uncle Su, is there something you need?" He let out a sigh, his eyes instantly reddening. Nan, I'm actually your father. I couldn't acknowledge you before because of Auntie Zhang. Now that you're grown up, about to start college, even if she divorces me, I still want to claim you as my daughter." I don't believe it. Having lived 2 lives, acting was second nature to me now. Su Wenyuan took me to the hospital for a DNA test. When the results came out, I threw myself into his arms, sobbing, "Dad, you don't know how much I wished you were my father when I was little, watching you dote on Ran. I never thought you'd actually be my dad." Su Wenyuan brought me back to the small villa he had built in the countryside. When Su Ran saw me, she couldn't hold it together anymore and went berserk, charging over to shove me. I let myself fall to the ground, tears silently streaming down my face. Su Wenyuan was furious. He slapped Su Ran across the face. "She's your sister, what the hell are you doing? Get back to your room." Su ran off crying, while Auntie Zhang stood nearby, nearly grinding her teeth to dust. With Su Wenyuan's help, I successfully transferred my household registration out of the He family. Granny he had refused to agree no matter what. Su Wenyuan ran a supermarket and hired some thugs to protect the store. He Jing got jumped on his way home, beaten black and blue while a sack was thrown over his head. The worst time, they broke his leg. Granny he wailed and cried, finally handing over my household registration booklet. I successfully moved my registration out of the He family. What had seemed impossible for me was a piece of cake for Su Wenyuan. Evil people need evil people to deal with them. After getting my early admission, I didn't need to go to school anymore. I stayed home, cooking and making soup for Su Wenyuan every day, playing the perfect filial daughter. These were things Su Ran had never done. Su Ran was spoiled rotten. With her as a contrast, every little good thing I did was magnified in Su Wenyuan's eyes, and every day, as Su Ran listened to Su Wenyuan praising me, her mood grew worse and more shattered. She couldn't stand me fawning over Su Wenyuan, nor could she stand him being nice to me. She couldn't tolerate seeing us act like a loving father and daughter. She threw tantrums, she cried, she smashed plates and bowls, then she got yelled at by Su Wenyuan, and when it got bad, he even hit her, and so, every day in the Su household fell into a vicious cycle. Under this emotional pressure, Su Ran couldn't study at all. On the day of the college entrance exam, I showed up right on time. She glared at me. "What are you doing here?" I smiled, "Taking the exam again. Let you see that losing to me wasn't just a fluke." I looked into her eyes. "It's reality. You're just my loser. Every time, you'll lose to me. That's your fate, Su Ran. You need to accept it." Her eyes burned with anger and hatred, but deep down, there was fear and terror. I walked into the exam hall, but she stood frozen in place, had messed with her head. When the exam results came out, Su Ran scored over 200 points less than me, barely scraping into a first-tier university. Su Wenyuan was a bit dismissive, couldn't even get into a top-tier school. "All those years I invested in you, the tutoring fees alone could buy an apartment in the city, useless waste." Su Ran broke down, wailing loudly. I brought out the soup I had been simmering. "Dad, don't be mad, have some soup first. Your health isn't great. You need to take care of yourself." Auntie Zhang was so furious she knocked the soup out of my hand and started a fight with me. Su Wenyuan slapped her back. The house was in total chaos. That night, I packed my bags, making sure to be as loud as possible. Sure enough, Su Wenyuan came out to see what I was doing. I whispered through tears, "I've already lost my mom, now you're all I have. Dad, even though I really want to live with you, I don't want to mess up your life." I found a part-time job at an education center in Beijing. "I'll call you often and check in on you." Su Wenyuan wiped his tears with the back of his hand and pulled out a bank card for me. "There's 150,000 in this card. Use it for now. If it's not enough, just tell me." I politely declined for a bit, then took it. During my university years, my outstanding grades made Su Wenyuan look good in front of his relatives back in the countryside. With me as a comparison, Su Ran became the difficult one. Su Wenyuan and Su Ran's mother fought constantly. What feelings could a man who cheated on his wife and abandoned his daughter during marriage possibly have? Su Wenyuan had countless women on the side. I played the sweet talker with a ruthless heart to the core, tricking Su Wenyuan into funding my master's, doctorate, and eventually my studies abroad. For someone like Su Wenyuan, who never studied but was obsessed with face, his academic filter was ridiculously strong. After returning from studying abroad, I started working at Su Wenyuan's supermarket. In 2 years, I successfully transferred all of Su Wenyuan's assets, turning the supermarket into a hollow shell, and then I left that place. My household registration had already been moved out with my university enrollment long ago. Su Ran's mother divorced Su Wenyuan, and Su Wenyuan nearly went insane. Years of drinking and womanizing had drained his body. He got a terminal illness and called me countless times. Before I switched my SIM card, I reluctantly answered one of his calls. He asked me for medical expenses, begging me to save him. I just smiled and said, "Uncle Su, my mom's been dead for 18 years, and you've lived 18 years too long. Hurry up and go keep her company. I don't have a single cent for you while you're alive, but after you die, whatever it costs for your funeral, I'll pay it all." Before he could curse me out, I hung up. He didn't make it through winter before he died. On the day of his death, I stepped back into this city I had once hated so much. At Su Wenyuan's funeral, I wrote my mother's name on the arrangements. The performers I hired to sing, drum, and chant sutras were for my mother too. I also rebuilt my mother's grave. The guests were all stunned, but none of them dared to say a word. The performers on stage were singing just right, and the guests at the tables were eating well. Suddenly, Su Ran rushed at me, pulling out a knife and stabbing toward me. It was He Jing who pushed me away. The two of them fought, and Su Ran chopped off He Jing's hand with one swing. As the police took Su Ran away, she kept cursing me non-stop. Before the ambulance took He Jing away, he smiled at me. Nan Nan, at least you're okay, I sneered sarcastically. Another setup planned with Su Ran. You really go all out, He Jing. What are you going to do if that hand can't be reattached? His face turned pale instantly. He opened his mouth painfully, trying to say something, but in the end, he weakly pressed his lips together. Nan Nan, I'm sorry, don't, it makes me sick. After the funeral, I buried Su Wenyuan far away. Back when he buried my mom, there wasn't even a tombstone, just a small mound of dirt. Now, I did the same to him. I lied to him even after death. I couldn't bring myself to spend money on him. After all, I've always been poor. I'm sure Uncle Su would understand, right? After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue. To see, my closest roommate is a big guy weighing over 200 pounds, who comes to me crying every day after being dumped by a scumbag. After helping her successfully lose weight, she called her gangster boyfriend's henchman to defile me. She said, I've lost weight and got a boyfriend, so I need to find a few boyfriends for my best friend to spoil her too, but she didn't know that she was about to starve to death. 01. On my 18th birthday, my roommates bought a cake to celebrate with me. I handed the cake to my best friend, Tang Anchuan, but she shook her head. I won't have any. I've gained weight again recently. I gain weight even from drinking water. It's really annoying, and I just can't seem to lose it. Xingjin, I really envy people like you who never gain weight no matter how much they eat. I'd be willing to pay 100,000 just to be thin. Tang Anchuan's family is quite well off. She is an only child, and her parents dote on her, giving her a generous allowance. Her skin is very fair, and she stands at 165 centimeters tall, but her weight is 200 pounds. Classmates dare not laugh in front of her, but behind her back, they call her white tube socks. I smacked my lips at the sweet, cloying cake in my mouth, thinking of the text my mom had sent me not long ago. Xingjin, you're turning 18 in a few days. Have you found someone to help yet? Without the nourishment of fat, you'll waste away within a month. You must act quickly. There is a little-known secret in our village. A long time ago, our village was struck by a strange illness, an insatiable appetite that allowed people to eat and digest anything. As a result, everyone in the village was overweight. No villager lived past the age of 18, because at 18, they would die from overeating. Finally, the entire village unexpectedly discovered a secret recipe. Each family selected a fat person, locked them in a cage to starve to death, and then took the best skin from the neck to wrap around a specially prepared wooden bowl. After soaking the human skin wooden bowl in blood for 49 days, a weight loss bowl could be obtained. Every member of the family could use the weight loss bowl once a day. People can gradually lose weight, but gradually, the villagers discovered a fatal flaw in the weight loss bowl. Since acquiring the weight loss bowl, families with daughters would have their daughters waste away and die at the age of 18. Families without daughters would have the entire household waste away and die on the day their child came of age. There are no longer any fat people in our village now. The solution is to go outside to find fat people and help them lose weight. One weight loss bowl can only help one person, and this weight loss bowl in our family was made by my father sacrificing himself. I don't want my dad's efforts to go to waste. 02. Seeing the desire in Tang Anchuan's eyes, I still felt a bit hesitant. The diet bowl shouldn't be used too often, and I'm not sure if Tang Anchuan can control herself. After all, she is the person I'm closest to in college. I was just about to ask her if she was determined to lose weight at all costs when Tang Anchuan looked at her phone and suddenly smiled sweetly. What's going on? Why are you smiling so happily? Xingjin, I'm sorry, but I have a date today, so I won't be able to keep you company. Tang Anchuan stood up shyly, and only then did I notice she was wearing a short white skirt today. Tang Anchuan had never been in a relationship due to her figure, so she had always longed for someone to like her. However, I had never heard her mention the person she was going on a date with today, which made me a bit worried. Are you coming back today? Who is it? Could you give me a rough idea? If anything happens, contact me right away. I'll be here. A flicker of displeasure crossed Tang Anchuan's face, and she didn't tell me who it was. I might not come back to the dorm tonight. Just enjoy your birthday, and I'll let you know I'm safe." She waved at me and hurried downstairs. Later that night, I lay in bed and sent her a message, but she didn't reply. My roommate said she definitely wouldn't be coming back tonight. She's been wanting to fall in love for so long. Xingjin, you'd better not ruin her good thing. It wouldn't be good if she blames you later. Yeah, today might be like dry wood meeting a fierce fire, and she might even lose her virginity. I'm a bit curious about this guy. He's actually willing to go for her. That's not ordinary. I couldn't be bothered to listen to their sarcastic remarks and helplessly put down my phone to sleep. I received a text message from Tang Anxuan during the early class the next day. "Xingjin, come quickly, I beg you, come quickly." It also includes the location of a hotel. I took leave and rushed over, only to find Tang Anxuan in the hotel room, clutching the blanket and crying her heart out. The makeup on her face was smeared, and there were a few drops of blood scattered on the sheets. "I roughly know what happened last night," and I hugged her. "What's wrong, and Chun, Xingjin, does being fat mean I don't deserve love?" Woo, he used to call me baby before, and even after meeting in person he said he liked me. Why did he disappear this morning and even block me on WeChat? Before blocking me, he said I was a fat pig who deserved to be unloved, and that he would have been disgusted if I weren't a virgin. The purple whip marks on Tang Anxuan's body made it clear that the man last night hadn't treated her well either. Patting her back, I asked the question I hadn't been able to ask last night. "And Chun, actually, I can help you lose weight. Our family has a weight loss bowl. I lost weight by using it." 03. Hearing this, Tang Anxuan's sobbing gradually subsided. "Xingjin, don't lie to me. There's no such thing in the world. Yes, everyone in our village used to be fat, but after we got the slimming bowl, everyone lost weight." Tang Anxuan wiped away her tears, swallowed, and said, "I want it. Give it to me quickly. I'll pay you." I took Tang Anxuan back to the dormitory and took out the slimming bowl from the safe. Weight loss bowl, small in size with a high base, feels smooth and oily to the touch. Seeing that there was indeed a bowl, Tang Anxuan looked excited and reached out to take it. I moved the bowl away without handing it to her, instead staring into her eyes and speaking seriously. "Anxuan, I don't want your money, but you must remember, you can only use the weight loss bowl once a day. When using the weight loss bowl, you can only put fatty meat inside. Nothing else is allowed, or it won't be effective. The amount of fatty meat you eat determines how much weight you'll lose, but don't eat more than 3 pieces a day, or there will be side effects." Seeing my serious expression, Tang Anxuan became even more hopeful about the weight loss bowl. She took an excited deep breath and said, "Xingjin, don't worry, I'll definitely follow what you said." Only then did I hand the bowl to her. "This bowl must be returned to me after each use. Don't forget." "All right, don't worry, this is our little secret." Tang Anxuan started trying that very night, and her roommate's expression twisted upon seeing her eating the white, fatty meat. "Tang Anxuan, you're already so fat and you're still eating such greasy food. It's disgusting, and your bowl is so greasy. How long has it been since you washed it?" Tang Anxuan, who already had a poor relationship with them, just rolled her eyes and ignored them upon hearing it. For a whole week, Tang Anxuan did exactly as I said. One noon, she excitedly grabbed hold of me. "Xingjin, it really works. I've lost weight, 10 pounds. I'm also relieved, but I still feel a bit worried inside. You must follow my method. Don't be impatient." "Okay, I'll listen to you." Tang Anxuan's weight loss plan is progressing in an orderly manner. The smile on her face is also growing, and my face is becoming more and more rosy. My roommate exclaimed in surprise, "Xingjin, I've noticed that your complexion is looking much rosier now, not as gaunt and sallow as before." I touched my face and forced a dry laugh. "Is that so? Maybe I've been eating more nutritiously lately." 04. A month later, Tang Anxuan successfully lost 50 pounds. She stood contentedly in front of the mirror, admiring herself. "Xingjin, I've been chubby since I was a child. I've never really seen myself slim down before." I suddenly realized that I actually look quite decent. I carefully examined Tang Anxuan in the mirror. She was right. Although she was still quite plump, her facial features had become much clearer, with her large almond-shaped eyes, small and high-bridged nose, round face, and fair skin. It was easy to see that she had the potential to become a beauty. I looked at myself in the mirror and noticed some significant changes. I used to be so thin that my chest was practically touching my back, with a sallow complexion and a frail appearance that looked like I could be blown over by the wind. Now, although I'm still thin, My face has become slightly fuller, I've also gained a bit of weight on my body. I remind you again, don't forget 3 pieces of fatty meat every day, and don't eat too much. This time, Tang Anxuan's eyes flickered, and she stammered in response, alright, stop sounding like a broken record. After losing weight, Tang Anxuan has become more fond of dressing up. Apart from being a bit chubby, her face has become much more refined. I heard some boys in the class discussing her. Hey, have you noticed that Bai Tonghua has lost weight? I noticed it a long time ago. She's lost quite a bit, and even her narrow eyes have gotten bigger. Who would have thought she had potential? Let's bet on whether she can lose even more weight. If she does, I'll go after her. If I were thinner, would you even have a chance to chase me? I think you can chase me now. Strike first, gain the upper hand. I don't know if they actually did it, but Tang Anxuan, who used to be inseparable from me, started building her own social circle. She often skipped classes to go out and occasionally stayed out overnight. She would giggle at her phone every day and became much more confident, but she was losing weight too quickly. I hadn't noticed until I realized she had become much thinner than the week before. She also hadn't eaten in front of me for a long time, always secretly finishing her meals and returning the bowl to me. One day, I deliberately seized an opportunity to stop her when she was heading off campus and asked, Anxuan, how much do you weigh now? Tang Anxuan replied impatiently, ugh, why do you care so much? Just use the diet bowl to help me lose weight. You're not trying to ask me for money now that you see I'm losing weight quickly, are you? Have you been secretly increasing the meat portions behind my back? I forcefully dragged her onto the scale. 130 pounds 05, as expected. She couldn't hold back. I told you, losing weight too quickly comes with a price. Why did you do this? Tang Anxuan's face turned extremely ugly as she pushed me away. How could someone as thin as you understand how I feel? I can't wait any longer. Is it wrong for me to want to slim down quickly? Is it wrong for me to want to be loved? You have no idea how many men have been chasing me since I lost weight. Xingjin, if you really are my best friend, don't stop me. I can give you money. Tang Anxuan transferred 3,000 yuan to me via her phone, saying it was like paying for a weight loss class. By the way, I'll keep the weight loss bowl for now. I happen to have taken some time off for personal reasons, so I'll return it to you later. She took the weight loss bowl with her when she left. She didn't return it to me the day before, and I thought she had forgotten. I never expected that she had already made up her mind not to give it back. Watching her figure disappear into the distance, I murmured to myself, but something really is going to happen. Since then, Tang Anxuan hasn't returned to the dormitory. My messages to her have gone unanswered, but I know that she not only increased her meat intake but also used the diet bowl more frequently. I know this because the diet bowl comes in a pair, one for losing weight, one for gaining weight, and I have a weight gain bowl in my hand, which I use for myself. After turning 18, I lose a pound of weight every day. If I don't find the right person, I will truly waste away. Every piece of fatty meat that Tang Anxuan eats from the weight loss bowl ends up in my weight gain bowl. The only difference is that eating fatty meat helps her lose weight, while it helps me gain weight. Originally, this could have reached a balance, and as long as Tang Anxuan followed my instructions, she could steadily lose weight. But if this balance is disrupted, the weight loss bowl will also become uncontrollable, attracting dieters to keep eating until they waste away. But it doesn't cause me any harm as the fatty meat in the bowl keeps increasing. I'm getting worried. Just as I was about to contact Tang Anxuan, her call came in. Tang Anxuan's tone was cheerful. Xingjin, I've successfully lost weight and found a boyfriend. Come over quickly. I want to thank you properly. When I arrived at the place she mentioned, what awaited me were 2 yellow-haired thugs. 06. So you're the country girl Tang Anxuan was talking about. Quite pretty, just not as good as Tang Anxuan. Now I have fair skin and a good figure. I can indeed be considered a beauty. I don't want to pay attention to them, but it's clear they know Tang Anxuan. Where is Tang Anxuan? Tang Anxuan. The two of them sneered with a lewd grin. Of course, she's having a romantic chat with our boss. We were getting all worked up just watching, so Tang Anxuan said she'd find us a pretty girl to reward us. Without giving me a chance to argue, they forced me into a corner. I tried to call the police, but one of the thugs slapped my phone out of my hand. Don't get distracted, just enjoy our affection at a time like this. They were very strong. I couldn't break free and was pinned to the ground, stripped of my clothes. Wow, such smooth skin, so soft. Brother Wang, she's still a virgin. Hurry up, I want to turn too. I don't know how much time had passed when I heard footsteps approaching. A stunningly beautiful woman with flawless makeup and an incredible figure stood over Me, looking down, she flashed an innocent, cheerful smile and said to me, "Xingjin, are you happy? Was it good? I was afraid it wouldn't be enough for you, so I specially found you two boyfriends." Tang Anxuan was holding the arm of a man with platinum blonde hair, who was quite handsome and smoking a cigarette. She happily introduced him to me. "Look, this is my boyfriend, handsome, right? He's also the one who took my virginity." I realized I misunderstood him. He blocked me before because his account was hacked. After I lost weight, he started pursuing me like crazy, and now we're officially a couple. I lay on the ground, looking disheveled at Tang Anxuan, who wore a sweet, mocking smile. My heart was pierced by a bone-chilling cold. I asked her, why would she do this? With such a deep friendship between us, how could it be overshadowed by a man she had known for less than a few months? She laughed. Good sisters should share both fortune and hardship. When I was fat, I had no men. Now that I'm slim and have experienced the goodness of men, I want to bring you some happiness too. Oh, right, I almost forgot to tell you their names. Tang Anxuan pointed at the two men. This one is Wang Jia, and that one is Jin Chong. Make sure to remember them. Tang Anxuan used the gentlest words to do the most vicious things, and I suddenly felt a bit nauseous. I began to retch repeatedly. Seeing this, Tang Anxuan's face turned very unpleasant. "Xingjin, don't act all innocent after getting the advantage. If you weren't my best friend, I wouldn't even bother with you. You clearly have something good, but you've been holding on to it without giving it to me, making me endure their ridicule for so long for nothing. By the way, I won't return that bowl to you, since you have no use for it anyway. I'll give you 3,000 yuan as payment for the bowl." She threw down a sum of money and turned to leave. I looked at the money scattered all over the ground and burst into laughter. I was going to spare her life, but since she insists on courting death, this is just the beginning. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. 07 Since that day, Tang Anxuan simply moved out of the dormitory. Her roommates didn't recognize her after her dramatic transformation. In no time, Tang Anxuan's beauty quickly became a sensation across the school. "Did you see that? That beauty is actually wearing white tube socks. Fat people really have potential, don't they? Do you think she got plastic surgery or liposuction? Otherwise, how could she have gotten so thin all of a sudden? No way, she looks completely natural. She probably just had a good foundation to begin with." Holding my weight gain bowl, I silently ate the fatty meat inside. It seems some people have no sense of self-preservation, already so thin yet still desperately adding meat to their bowl. One evening, I received a call from Tang Anxuan. "Xingjin, I've lost enough weight recently, so I'll lend your boyfriends the bowl for a few more days. They've somehow started gaining weight like crazy lately." I replied expressionlessly, "Of course, feel free to reach out if you have any questions." Hearing Tang Anxuan's satisfied laughter, I hung up the phone. They will come looking for me again. After all, people always have to pay the price for what they do. In our village, unless both parties are willing, the one who forces the other will break the restriction of the weight loss bowl, gradually gain weight, and eventually die from overeating. Since Jin Chong and Wang Jia are so eager to seek death, I'll grant them their wish. Just as I expected, a few days later, Tang Anxuan returned to the dormitory. She looked strange and whispered to me, "Xingjin, come out for a moment, I need to talk to you." She took me straight to the small grove at the school and urgently pointed at two people who were so overweight they were barely recognizable, saying, "Look at Wang Jia and Jin Chong. What's wrong with them? Why didn't the weight loss bowl work for them?" "The weight loss bowl can only be used by one outsider. It doesn't work for anyone else." Tang Anxuan's boyfriend, Hu Ziyu, anxiously said, "What should we do? They're eating like crazy now, and we can't stop them at all." Last time, Jin Chong even tried to chew on the table. "Since you can help Anxuan lose weight, you must be able to help them too. Do you have any more weight loss bowls?" I glanced at him, raised an eyebrow, and said, "Of course, but you have to go to our village. Every household in our village has a weight loss bowl, which might be able to help them. Then take us there quickly." I deliberately pretended to be in a difficult position. Our village is very remote, and the people in our village don't like outsiders coming. I can't make the decision. Upon hearing that there was a chance, Tang Anxuan urged, "I remember your mom called you last time. Why don't you call and ask her? Isn't it said that country folks are very simple and honest?" I reluctantly replied, "Then I'll give it a try." Seeing me in this weak state, they thought they had me under their thumb and started snickering again. "That's more like it. After all, we're your boyfriend and girlfriend. How could you not help us? Once we successfully lose weight, we'll make sure to reward you properly." I held back my disgust and called my mom. "Hello, Mom, I have a few friends who want to come visit the village. I helped my best friend lose weight successfully, and now there are 2 more who want to do the same. My mom got excited as soon as she heard, fat, our village loves fat people the most. I'll tell mom and the villagers, and we'll be ready to welcome you anytime. After hanging up the phone, Jean Chong boasted, see how reasonable my mother-in-law is. She seems very welcoming to us. I made arrangements with a few people, and they agreed to go back with me during the Dragon Boat Festival holiday. 08 On the day of the Dragon Boat Festival, I received calls from both my mom and Tang Anchuan, Hu Ziyu, and the other 2 were all ready to set off at any moment. My mom said the villagers are also ready. The village has selected 2 families in urgent need of help and asked them to provide the weight loss bowls. My mom repeatedly reminded me, make sure to bring them back safely, the fatter the better. After setting off with Tang Anchuan and the other 3, we took a flight and then transferred to several buses. After that, we walked for 3 more hours on the mountain road. Tang Anchuan said impatiently, how come we still haven't arrived? How far is it? Xingjin, you're not tricking us, are you? She wouldn't dare. If she's tricking us, I'll push her right off this mountain. Wang Jia gasped for breath, leaning on her thigh. I pointed at the dark figure hopping ahead. Isn't that it? Seeing my rosy complexion, my mother said happily, as expected of my daughter. You really have the ability. Look at this complexion, it's so beautiful. Your father's spirit in heaven must be very happy. She turned and saw Tang Anchuan's slender back, also pleased. This must be the good friend my daughter mentioned, right? With a face and figure like that, even a country person like me can see how stunning she is. Being thin is good. It really brings out her features. So beautiful. Tang Anchuan lifted her chin proudly at the praise and pointed at Jean Chong and Wang Jia, saying, Auntie, both of Xingjin's boyfriends want to lose weight, I heard. You have weight loss bowls, could you bring them out quickly? Hearing her speak so casually, I snorted coldly in my heart, still trying to stir up trouble in front of my mom. Aren't you? Just want her to think I don't respect myself, right? My mom looked at the 2 oddly overweight individuals and immediately understood. Her eyes shifted. Oh, my daughter is really something, having 2 boyfriends, and both of them are chubby. Impressive. The matter of the weight loss bowl is easy to handle. I've already contacted 2 families, and they're waiting for you in the village. Tang Anchuan didn't achieve her goal, and her face darkened as she left. She muttered under her breath, such a disgusting thing, and they still say Xingjin is amazing. It seems Xingjin's mother is just as promiscuous as Xingjin, a young slut and an old slut. 09 My mother and I heard every word she said, and we exchanged a glance. With such a sharp tongue, you'd better not lose your appetite later. It wouldn't be good to starve to death. The 2 families selected were from the head and tail of the village, Xiaohong and Xiaolan. They are both my childhood friends, but they dropped out of school early and don't like interacting with outsiders, so much so that after the 18th, I couldn't find Fatty. Xiaohong and Xiaolan were waiting at my house with their weight loss bowls, and they stood up happily when they saw us return. Ah Jean, you're finally back. Seeing the 2 chubby figures behind me, they broke into genuine smiles. Ah Jean didn't lie to us. They always say to read more books, and Ah Jean reads so many that he can find a fat man for us from outside. That's great. I patted their heads. Jean Chong and Wang Jia, 2 lechers, drooled at the sight of the 2. I never expected such a small village to have so many beautiful women. Hu Ziyu frowned and asked me, what do their words mean? I feel something is a bit off. Unexpectedly, Hu Ziyu turned out to be the most perceptive among them. I chuckled and replied, Xiaohong and Xiaolan have never left the village since they were young, so they think people who can read are amazing, and there's a village rule in our village, families with a weight loss bowl must help a fat person successfully lose weight, otherwise they will be punished. So even if it's not to help Wang Jia and Jean Chong, they would still help other fat people. My words didn't completely dispel Hu Ziyu's doubts, but he didn't stop Wang Jia and Jean Chong from following Xiaolan and the others home either. Watching Jean Chong and the others leave with great enthusiasm, I shrugged, hope they have a good time. Tang Anchuan and Hu Ziyu were arranged to stay on the 2nd floor of our house. They haven't closed the door yet. Hu Ziyu whispered, I always feel something is off. Let's head back tomorrow, and leave Qiangzi and the others here to lose weight. Tang Anchuan hooked her arms around his neck, cooing seductively, I'm exhausted today. Let's take a break for a day and leave the day after tomorrow, okay? How about you give me a massage? Hu Ziyu felt the other's initiative and began to let his hands wander. How do you want the massage? I sneered, pretending not to hear anything, and turned to enter the room. Since you're already here, how can you just leave like that? 10, holy crap. Early the next morning, Hu Ziyu's scolding and Tang Anxuan's screams echoed throughout the house. Tang Anxuan ran downstairs with a thud, shouting as she went, Xing Jin, how could this happen? My face, I looked up and saw that the stunning beauty who was fair, youthful, and slender yesterday had turned into an anorexic patient with sunken cheeks today. I feigned shock. What happened? Weren't you fine last night? What should we do, Ziyu? Do you have any ideas? Tang Anxuan asked Hu Ziyu through tears. The other party, however, kept a distance from Tang Anxuan, clearly repulsed by her ugliness. Hu Ziyu's attitude did a complete 180-degree turn. What's the use of asking me? I'm not a plastic surgeon who can turn an ugly woman into a beauty. You scared the hell out of me first thing in the morning. What bad luck. After saying that, he ran out without looking back. Tang Anxuan was dumbfounded, turning to grab my arm and pleading, Xing Jin, please help me. I don't want to become ugly. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat something. I held her thin, dry hand, offering advice without the slightest hint of disdain. Hungry. Anxuan, you've just lost weight from not eating enough. As long as you eat more and gain the weight back, you'll be fine. My words gave Tang Anxuan a lifeline to cling to, and she murmured to herself, yes, I'm just hungry. As long as I eat more, I can become pretty again. She began eating the breakfast my mom had prepared in big, hearty bites. Hu Ziyu didn't return until evening, and Tang Anxuan asked him where he had been. He was evasive, and as Tang Anxuan kept pressing him, he abruptly pushed her away, angrily calling her a shameless bitch, he said. She was so ugly she still dared to be his girlfriend, then stormed into his room and locked the door from the inside. Devastated, Tang Anxuan didn't go to sleep either. Instead, she huddled at the dining table and asked my mom to cook for her. She stuffed food into her mouth in big mouthfuls. Eat more and you'll gain weight back. Then Ziyu will like me again. Everyone likes beautiful women. He's not wrong. It's me who's not doing well enough. Looking at her, I didn't feel sorry for her. Because after all, the pitiful have their own hateful aspects. I looked up again toward Hu Ziyu's room, sensing that something must have happened during the time he was out. When he first came back, he carried a familiar scent on him. It seemed to be the scent from Xiangxiang 11. The next day, Hu Ziyu hurriedly grabbed his suitcase and rushed out. Tang Anxuan, who had been eating all night without sleep, saw this and stopped him. Ziyu, where are you going? Are you heading home? Can you take me back with you? Hu Ziyu kicked her away. Get lost. Don't you dare dirty my eyes. I have something to take care of and need to go back. You stay here and go back with Jin Chong and the others later. As if he had done something wrong, he didn't even say goodbye and just ran off. When Xiangxiang came running to us with her family, we found out that he had actually slept with her yesterday. That damn bastard just saw how pretty Xiangxiang is. It's my fault for raising her to be too kind-hearted, and she got tricked by that scoundrel. Xiangxiang's mother spat a thick wad of phlegm and stood with her hands on her hips, fuming. My mother was also furious, daring to cause trouble in our village. He must be blind to think the people of our village are easy to bully. He's reaping what he sows. Let's see if he'll explode and die when the time comes. Tang Anxuan, hearing our words, also realized something was wrong. What are you talking about? Are you planning to take action against Hu Ziyu? I warn you, if you dare harm him, I'll kill all of you. Xiangxiang and I burst into laughter in unison. How hilarious. She says she wants to kill us. I walked up to Tang Anxuan and poked her emaciated body with my finger. With your current skin and bones appearance, you should worry about yourself first. After saying that, we didn't bother with her anymore and instead went out to Xiaolan's house. Jin Chong had no idea what had happened at my place. As soon as we entered, we saw him comfortably lounging in a recliner. He now looked a bit more like a person. Clearly Xiaolan had been feeding him plenty of meat. Seeing us approach, Jin Chong stood up and smiled, saying, wow, thanks to you guys, I've lost so much weight in just one day without even having to exercise or run. This method is really amazing. My mom is really good at handling things, and she promised, it's good that you've lost weight. Keep up the good work. We'll go to Xiao Hong's house to check, and you just stay at Xiao Lan's house. You can't go out during the weight loss period, otherwise the weight will come back. Upon hearing this, Jin Chong hastily promised that he would not leave Xiao Lan's house even half a step until he had completely lost the weight. We were pleased to visit Wang Jia, who lives at Xiao Hong's house, as his weight loss results were even more impressive. If he used to weigh around 300 pounds, now he's probably only about 160 pounds. Wang Jia smiled and said while smoking, I heard From Xiao Hong that the more meat you eat from the weight loss bowl, the faster you lose weight. I've been eating so much these past 2 days that I almost threw up, but thankfully the results are outstanding. I saw his smug expression and couldn't help but laugh inwardly. It's a pity Xiao Hong didn't tell you the second half of the sentence. The better the effect, the more addictive it becomes. I asked him, so, are you going back? Wang Jia has actually lost most of the weight by now, but his eyes darted around as he spoke up. No rush, I just got here. Now that I've slimmed down, I'll just treat it like a vacation. The sharpness and flirtatiousness in his eyes were impossible to hide. This wasn't about wanting a vacation at all. He clearly had his eyes on Xiao Hong. Xiao Hong gave me a wink, assuring me that she would definitely take good care of Wang Jia. I tapped the table lightly with my finger in response to Xiao Hong. All right, it just so happens that Xiao Hong can introduce you to the local customs and culture here. She's the most polite and loves hosting guests. 12. After returning home, I didn't bother hiding anything in front of Tang Anchuan and directly discussed Jin Chang and Wang Jia with my mom. At this rate, they'll starve to death in less than 3 days. Trying to bully our villagers and take advantage of us for nothing. They deserve to die. Tang Anchuan stopped eating and pointed at us with a terrified expression. It's you. It's all you're doing. I walked over, grabbed the noodles from the plate, and stuffed them into her mouth. Just realized it now, too late. Did you really think we were going to help the fat guy lose weight successfully? To be honest with you, our village is under a curse. Girls must find a fat substitute before they turn 18, using the other person's flesh to fend off the fate of wasting away. Once the fat person starts using the weight loss bowl, they can't stop. They can only be drained of their fat by us until they die. Tang Anchuan asked me in astonishment. Why? I pinched her bony chin and stared at her intently. Why? Do you still remember Xing'an? Our village finally produced someone not cursed by the curse. We specifically sent him out of the village, enrolled him in a prestigious school, and provided him with a good education, all in the hope that one day he could find a solution to the punishment for us. But he was unlucky and died young. Later, we investigated, and finally realized it wasn't just bad luck. It was Xing'an who was too foolish. He went to save a girl with a venomous heart who had fallen into the water. To survive, she stepped on his head to climb ashore, drowning him alive. Isn't that right? Tang Anchuan's pupils contracted slightly. Suddenly, she broke free from my grip and shouted, "Not me. It wasn't me who killed him. It was clearly his own fault. He didn't know how to swim well. Yet he recklessly jumped in to save me. He deserves to die. It's just his bad luck. He's a short-lived devil." My long-dormant heart was ignited by her casual words. In the eyes of such wealthy people, Xing'an's death could only be attributed to his bad luck. Fine, you don't have much longer to live either. Seems your fate isn't that great either. Tang Anchuan stumbled out the door, wanting to get away from here. Once I get out, I'll call the police. I'll make everyone in this entire village pay the price. Unfortunately, just as she was about to reach the village entrance, she suddenly collapsed to the ground. Hungry, I'm so hungry. Tang Anchuan's eyes were bloodshot all over. She grabbed the yellow mud on the ground and began to eat it in large mouthfuls. Hungry, I can't die, I need to eat, until her belly slightly bulged. Tang Anchuan still hadn't filled her stomach. Finally, she starved to death at the village entrance. 13. The villagers poked their heads out one after another, catching sight of Tang Anchuan's body, their eyes filled with envy. The Xing family's daughter is really something. Their family now has a weight loss bowl in the works, and they can have a child too. Yes, in our village, if a woman wants to have a child, she must first craft a new weight loss bowl, because the child born will still carry the curse of obesity, and once the old weight loss bowl has been used by an outsider, it loses its effectiveness. We must find the materials to make the next weight loss bowl in preparation for the next child. My mother, with a joyful expression, stepped forward and grabbed Tang Anchuan's foot, dragging her into the house. Since this woman is the murderer who killed our Xing'an, it's only natural to use her skin to make a bowl. Tang Anchuan, after all, was young, and the skin on her neck was very tender. As I touched the newly made weight loss bowl, I felt nothing but its smoothness. In a few days, when I went to see Jin Chang and Wang Jia, they had already become so thin that their eyes bulged, frantically devouring food. I'm hungry, so hungry. These things are too few. I want to eat more. Finally, they too became the new bowls of Little Red and Little Blue's home. They toyed with the bowls in their hands and sighed. City folks are just different. Even the men's skin is so smooth and tender. Sister Xingjin, you're really good to us. Before I could return to school, Ziyu's call came through. You damn woman, why have I gained weight too? Was it you who did this? I rolled my eyes and mercilessly exposed him. Do I need to say what dirty deeds you've done? Just wait for your death, you wretched woman, just you wait, I'm coming for you right now, and when I do, I'll burn your entire village to the ground. Unfortunately, before he could come to set the fire, I saw a short video about him on my phone. Caption: encountered a crazy person on the plane, even gnawing on the seat. The comments section showcased everyone's creativity. Is this a glutton? No wonder he's so fat, he doesn't even spare the sponge. This person definitely has pica, and they're so fat you can't even see their eyes. Look at their belly. Oh my god, it looks like it's about to explode. Just a few minutes later, the short video was updated again. Caption: oh my god, it really did explode. The screen is full of pixelation, but you can see a person lying on the ground, their stomach torn open, with ketchup spilled all over. 14 News report. Man on plane explodes, actually died from overeating. It's not just baseless talk. In the news, the forensic examination has determined the cause of Hu Ziyu's death. He was literally stuffed to death. Netizens also exclaimed, the world is truly full of wonders, and I continued with my studies. The disappearance of Tang Anchuan and the others caught the attention of the police. However, in everyone's eyes, Tang Anchuan had long been corrupted by associating with people from the streets. Everyone thought she was a love-struck fool who ran off with a delinquent. The police discovered that her social connections were complicated and that she hadn't been living at school for a long time. When they questioned me, I showed no signs of anything unusual and simply said, I heard Chun mention before that she had found a delinquent boyfriend, but she never told me who it was. After that, she never came back to the dorm. Even though the police later became a bit suspicious of me, they had no evidence and could only temporarily classify it as a missing person case. I started studying hard because I had a target university in mind, a well-known 211 university, and it said that a beautiful and talented student has already been recommended for admission there. I gently rubbed the photo in my hand, gazing at the beautiful girl in a white dress inside. Such a pure color. How do you deserve it? It was you who tricked Xing'an into jumping into the water to save someone. How can you act as if nothing happened and peacefully enjoy your wonderful life? After hearing first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. 3 days before the zombie outbreak, my best friend and I simultaneously awakened to supernatural ability systems. One is the Holy Light system, capable of curing the zombie virus, and the other is the Berserk system, that only enhances physical strength. In my previous life, I chose the Holy Light, only to be morally coerced by my best friend. If you have the ability, why won't you save everyone? I was pushed onto the altar, exhausting my life day and night to save others, only to be treated as a blood-producing livestock by the base leader, drained of my last drop of blood and left to die. Meanwhile, my best friend, relying on the Berserk system, became the second in command of the base, climbing to power over my corpse. Now, Reborn, the light screen for system selection has just lit up. My best friend was quick and sharp-eyed, pressing the Holy Light system in an instant. This time, the glory of the Savior is mine. Watching her greedy expression, I chose the Berserk option, laughing so hard my stomach hurt. Fool, in this cannibalistic apocalypse, being a savior means being devoured to the last one. I stared at the two pale blue light screens floating before me, my heart pounding violently. On the left is the Holy Light system, emitting a soft white glow, while on the right is the Frenzy system, entwined with crimson lightning. The time has returned to 3 days before the apocalypse outbreak. Before I could even recover from the dizziness of rebirth, a meticulously manicured hand had already slammed down hard on the light screen to my left. I want this, I want the Holy Light system. Jiang Linlin's voice was sharp and urgent, as if afraid I would snatch it from her. The system's mechanical voice sounded. Host Jiang Linlin bound to the Holy Light system. Occupation, healer. Host Shen Yu bound to the Berserk system. Occupation, berserker. The dust has settled. Jiang Linlin let out a long sigh, turned to look at me, her face unable to conceal her smugness, yet her tone feigned apology. Yeah, you won't blame me for choosing first, will you? You know, I've never been able to stand seeing others get hurt since I was little. This healing system is just perfect for me. That berserker system is all about fighting and killing. It doesn't suit my temperament at all, so it's perfect for you. She brushed her hair back, her eyes filled with the smug satisfaction of a successful scheme. Last time, it was the same, only back then, she cried and said she was too timid to kill zombies, forcing me to choose the seemingly safe healing system while she kept the combat system for herself. So what happened? I became a captive blood bag, while she became the queen with military power in her hands. I lowered my head, suppressing the laughter that was almost uncontrollable, my voice trembling. Lin, but the manual says that healers are highly respected, and I also want to be a savior. Jiang Lin immediately darkened her face, lecturing me in a tone of disappointment. Shen, one shouldn't be too greedy. You've always been strong and powerful since childhood. Isn't it only right for you to charge into battle and protect me? Besides, the responsibility of being a savior is so heavy. I'm just sharing the burden for you. She walked over, affectionately linking her arm with mine, but her nails dug into my flesh. From now on, I'll be the one looking beautiful and saving lives in the background, while you handle the zombies up front. Don't worry, once I become the goddess of the base, revered by thousands, I'll make sure you're fed. Holding back my disgust, I looked up at her and sighed, pretending to be helpless. All right, since you're so eager to be the good one, I'll let you have this opportunity. That's more like it. Jiang Lin let go of me, lost in the joy of obtaining the system, already fantasizing about the future. Yeah, quickly transfer all the money from your card to me. I was taken aback. What for? Jiang Lin spread her hands with a sense of righteousness. I'm going to be a savior, so I definitely need to prepare a lot of supplies to help the victims. Plus, I need to buy a few nice white dresses. How else can I maintain the image of a saint? Your money is my money. Hurry up. Looking at her entitled vampire-like expression, I sneered inwardly. In my previous life, I was too foolish, allowing myself to be held hostage by a best friend like her for a lifetime. In this life, since you want to play the saint, I'll let you have your way. I hope you can still smile so happily when you're being torn apart by zombies or devoured by refugees. 2. Transfer. My card is frozen. I casually told a lie and immediately started packing my things. Jiang Lin widened her eyes and screamed, how is that possible? Didn't you just get your bonus last week? Shen, are you not willing to support my career? Are you jealous of me? She blocked the doorway, crossed her arms, and assumed the posture of a judge. Yeah, you need to think bigger. I'm a reserve savior now. If you invest in me, you'll be a founding member. If you're this stingy now, don't come begging when I make it big later. I rummaged through the closet, stuffed a few windbreakers into my backpack, and walked away without looking back. If it's really frozen, believe it or not. Besides, since you're the savior, shouldn't you be the one supporting me? What kind of logic is it for the bodyguard to pay for the boss? Jiang Lin was left speechless by my retort and stomped her foot in frustration. Fine, Shen, you're something else. A selfish person like you deserves to be a supporting character for life. When the zombies come, don't you dare beg me to heal you. She stormed out, cursing and slamming the door, probably off to take out a loan or max out her credit cards to buy her saintly gear. I watched her furious figure through the window, my gaze icy. 3 days left. I took out my phone and quickly operated it. I mortgaged the car, sold the jewelry, and emptied all my savings. Unlike in my previous life, I didn't foolishly stockpile supplies at home to share with Jiang Lin. Instead, I rented a high-security underground warehouse in the suburbs and transported all the purchased compressed biscuits, canned food, water, and medicine there. The Rampage system comes with a personal space. Although it's not large, it's more than enough for me to survive alone for a long time. I stored all the supplies in my space, keeping only a fire axe in my hand. Over the past 3 days, Jiang Lin has been busy posting selfies on her social media feed. In the photos, she wore a pure white dress, with the caption, I feel a surge of power within me, as if I was born to save this world. If the apocalypse comes, I will become a beacon of light, bringing warmth to everyone. The comments section was filled with flattery. Goddess Lin is so kind, so beautiful and kind-hearted. What an angel descended to earth. I also gave a like and commented below, Lin is truly an angel. If anyone is in trouble, be sure to reach out to her. She would never turn a blind eye. Jiang Lin quickly replied to me with a proud expression, of course, with great power comes great responsibility. Looking at the phone screen, I burst out laughing. The pampering and killing have only just begun. On the third night, a piercing scream suddenly came from outside the window. Help, murder, don't bite me. Ah, I stood behind the curtain, watching the streetlight below turn red with blood, as a figure frantically tore at another person's throat. The apocalypse had arrived. My phone vibrated. It was a WeChat message from Jiang Lin, in huge font. Shen, where are you? get over here and protect me. I heard something outside. I'm so scared. 3. I slowly put on my protective gear and tucked the fire axe at my waist. There was a frantic banging on the door from outside. Shen Yu, I know you're in there. Open the door. Are you trying to kill me? Jiang Linlin's voice was choked with sobs, clearly terrified. I opened the door. Jiang Linlin rushed in with disheveled hair, her expensive white lace nightgown already soaked through with cold sweat. As soon as she entered, she collapsed onto the sofa, pointing at my nose and shouting angrily, "Where the hell have you been? I've been knocking for ages and you didn't answer. What are those monsters outside? They scared me to death. Quick, pour me a glass of water." She still habitually ordered me around as if I were the same pushover she could easily control. Leaning against the doorframe, I toyed with the heavy fire axe in my hand, a playful look in my eyes. Linlin, aren't you the savior? Those people outside are waiting for you to rescue them. What are you doing hiding in my place? Jiang Linlin was taken aback for a moment, then flushed with anger. I'm not ready yet. Besides, I'm a healer. I'm support. You're the berserker, the fighter. You should be the one charging out there to kill all those monsters and keep me safe. She confidently extended her hand. Also, I'm hungry. Bring out the food you've stockpiled. I want steak, medium rare. Looking at her bossy and demanding expression, I suddenly felt that I had been blind in my past life. No steak, I said coldly, only crackers. I don't eat biscuits. How can I swallow something so dry? Jiang Linlin screamed. Shen Yu, are you doing this on purpose? You must have hidden some private money to buy good food. Hand it over now, or I'll kick you out. This house is mine. She's just staying here temporarily, but in her logic, what's mine is hers. Just then, a series of chaotic footsteps and screams echoed from the hallway. Help, is anyone there? My son's been bitten. It's Aunt Wang from downstairs. Jiang Linlin's face turned pale, and she shivered as she huddled on the sofa. After a moment's thought, I walked over, grabbed her, and pushed her toward the door. What are you doing? Are you crazy? Jiang Linlin struggled desperately. Go save someone. I smiled innocently. Did you forget the vow you posted on your social media, to become a light, warming everyone? Now's your chance. Aunt Wang has always been so good to you. Can you bear to watch her son turn into a monster? I'm not going. I'll die. Jiang Linlin clung desperately to the doorframe. Don't worry, it's just a bite, not a mutation yet. I leaned close to her ear, whispering temptingly, this is your chance to establish authority. If you cure him, everyone in the building will treat you like a god. Then, what wouldn't you have? Jiang Linlin's movements froze, greed overcame fear, her eyes flickered. Really, of course, you have the system. Jiang Linlin gritted her teeth, straightened her messy nightgown, and put on a holy expression. All right, I'll go. Shen Yu, you take the axe and follow behind me. If you dare let me get even a scratch, you'll have hell to pay. She opened the door and walked out. In the hallway, Aunt Wang was holding her blood-soaked son, weeping bitterly. Jiang Linlin took a deep breath, raised her hand, and a faint white light began to glow. Don't be afraid, I'll save him. For the white light enveloped the wound on Aunt Wang's son. A miracle happened. The gruesome, torn wound actually began to heal at a visible rate, and even the originally darkened skin slowly regained its color. All right, it's really all right, Aunt Wang cried tears of joy, kneeling on the ground and kowtowing to Jiang Linlin. Linlin, you truly are a living bodhisattva. You are the savior of our entire family. The neighbors who had been peeking through the cracks in their doors were also stunned, then erupted in cheers. A miracle. This is a miracle. Linlin actually has superpowers. Jiang Linlin basked in the admiration of the crowd. Her vanity greatly satisfied, she haughtily lifted her chin, like a proud peacock. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, everyone will be fine. However, the next second, her body swayed and she almost fell. Healing consumes vitality. In my previous life, every time I finished a treatment, I would feel as weak as if I had suffered a serious illness, and I had to eat a lot to recover. Jiang Linlin clearly also felt that draining dizziness and hunger. She turned her pale face toward me and said, Yeah, I'm so tired. Help me back quickly. I need to eat something. I stood where I was, unmoving, just watching coldly. At that moment, several more people rushed over from the end of the hallway. It was Li Chong from the 5th floor, a thug with a burly build, holding a kitchen knife in his hand and carrying an unconscious old woman on his back. If you can heal her, hurry up and treat my mom. Li Chong rushed over, grabbed Jiang Linlin by the collar, and sprayed her face with spittle. My mom was just scratched. Hurry up. Jiang Linlin was terrified and struggled weakly. I don't have the strength right now. I need to rest my ass. Li Chang's eyes were bloodshot. You could treat Aunt Wang's son, but you can't treat my mom. Do you look down on me? Believe it or not, I'll fucking kill you. The cold blade pressed against Jiang Linlin's neck. The neighbors who had just been praising her moments ago now silently stepped back, not one daring to step forward to help. This was human nature in the apocalypse. Jiang Linlin was so scared she burst into tears, looking at me pleadingly. Yeah, save me, hurry up and kill him for me. I crossed my arms, leaning against the wall with an innocent expression. Linlin, he's a human, not a zombie. Killing people is illegal. I don't dare. You have an axe in your hand. You have the berserk system. Jiang Linlin screamed. You could clearly save me. Hearing the words, berserk system, Li Chang glanced at me warily, but seeing that I had no intention of fighting, he turned his attention back to Jiang Linlin. Enough talk. Heal me now, or I'll bleed you dry right this instant. The blade sliced through Jiang Linlin's delicate skin, and blood began to flow. Intense fear and pain completely overwhelmed Jiang Linlin. To survive, she had to find a scapegoat or a source of energy. She suddenly pointed at me and shouted at Li Chang and all the neighbors around. I'm not treating because I'm hungry. I have no energy. Shinyu has supplies. She's hiding a lot of food at home. As long as she brings out the food to replenish my energy, I can save everyone. If she doesn't give it, then she wants to kill you all. In an instant, everyone's gaze fixed on me like starving wolves. It was a desire for survival, and also the most primitive malice. Li Chang turned his head and looked at me with a sinister expression. Little girl, hand over the food if you know what's good for you, otherwise, you won't live to see your best friend die. Jiang Linlin hid behind Li Chang's subordinate, looking at me with a malicious glint in her eyes. Yeah, don't be so selfish. For the sake of saving everyone, just make a little sacrifice. 5. The atmosphere in the hallway instantly froze. More than a dozen pairs of greedy eyes were fixed on me, as if the moment I dared to say no, they would pounce like zombies and tear me apart. I looked at Jiang Linlin's face, which was clearly written with, "Better you die than me," and suddenly laughed. Sacrifice a little. I gripped the fire axe in reverse, spinning the handle once in my palm. Jiang Linlin, I could hear your calculations from 3 kilometers away. You want to play the good person, but you expect me to provide the supplies. You want to be a saint, but you want me to cut my own flesh to feed the eagle. How can you call that cutting your own flesh? Jiang Linlin screamed with righteous indignation. The blood was still flowing from her neck, but it didn't stop her from subjecting me to a moral trial. You have so much food. What's wrong with sharing a little with everyone? It's the apocalypse now. We all need to help each other. Are you just going to hoard all that stuff and watch everyone die? Are you even human? The neighbors around began to chime in, their voices growing louder and louder. That's right, young lady, you can't be too heartless. We're all neighbors, so if you have the ability, lend a hand it over now, or don't blame us for being rude. Li Chang even pointed the tip of his knife at me, sneering. Hear that? Everyone wants you to hand it over. If you don't do it properly, I'll help you do it properly. I sighed, and my gaze instantly turned sharp. Want it? Come and get it yourself. Before the words had even finished, I abruptly activated the berserk system. A surge of scorching electric current instantly coursed through my entire body, muscles tensing, and my strength skyrocketed tenfold. Boom! I kicked Li Chang right in the stomach. I held back on that kick, using only 30% of my strength. But for an ordinary person, it was still a devastating blow. The 200-pound burly man was sent flying backward like a ragdoll, crashing hard against the security door opposite with a loud bang. He passed out without even letting out a scream. The entire venue fell into dead silence. The neighbors who had just been shouting about robbing us instantly shrank back in terror, like ducks with their necks clamped shut. Gripping the axe, I walked step by step toward Jiang Linlin, who had collapsed on the ground. She was trembling all over with fear, tears and snot smeared across her face. You, don't be afraid, I won't kill you. I crouched down and gently tapped her cheek with the back of the axe. The cold touch made her shiver. Weren't you trying to save people? Weren't you a saint? Now no one is stopping you. I pointed at the old woman lying unconscious on the ground, then at Li Chang, whom I had just kicked into a daze. Li Chang just fainted, but his mother is about to mutate. Since you're the hope of the entire building, please begin your performance. If you can't cure them, I glanced around at the terrified neighbors and said quietly, then everyone might think you're a heartless fraudster who refuses to help those in need. Jiang Linlin looked at me in despair. Her physical condition was already at its limit. Using her ability one more time would definitely drain her life force, and that kind of pain is worse than death. No, I can't do it anymore, I'll die, she cried, shaking her head. At that moment, someone in the crowd shouted, she just cured Aunt Wang's son a moment ago, she just doesn't want to save us. Exactly, she's just trying to save her strength for herself. So selfish. How can someone like her deserve to have special abilities? The tide of public opinion instantly reversed. Just moments ago, Jiang Linlin was being praised to the heavens, but now she has become the sinner in everyone's eyes. I stood up, stepped back to my own doorway, and looked down at her from above. Did you hear that, Linlin? Everyone is waiting for you, don't let your followers down. Under the pressure from the crowd, Jiang Linlin tremblingly extended her hand. The white light flashed again, but it was much dimmer than before. With a piercing scream, Jiang Linlin bled from all 7 orifices and immediately fell unconscious. 6. Jiang Linlin was awakened by the pain. She lay on the cold cement floor, her entire body aching as if it had been run over by a truck, with every bone protesting in agony. Water, water, she groaned hoarsely. Awake, I sat on a chair beside her, with a small folding table in front of me. On the table were a plate of sizzling steak, a glass of red wine, and a plate of sliced fruit. The aroma felt out of place in the hallway filled with the smell of blood and mildew, yet it was incredibly enticing. Jiang Linlin's eyes snapped open, fixed on the steak, and a loud gulp sounded in her throat. The extreme exhaustion had pushed her hunger to its peak, and it felt as if a fire were burning in her stomach. Yeah, give me a bite. She crawled towards me on all fours, completely devoid of her previous arrogance and pride, like a dog wagging its tail and begging for mercy. I cut a small piece of beef, placed it in my mouth, and chewed it slowly, savoring the rich juices. Want some? I swirled the red wine glass, glancing at her nonchalantly. But this is my supply. Didn't you just say you wanted to contribute to everyone? If you eat my food, wouldn't that mean you owe me a favor? How could our saintly Miss Jiang Linlin owe someone a favor? I won't be a saint anymore, I won't. Jiang Linlin cried out, I'm starving to death. Shen Yu, we're best friends, you used to be so good to me. Please, give me something to eat. She tried to reach out and grab the plate on the table. Thud, a fire axe slammed down fiercely on the floor just 1 centimeter in front of her fingers, sending sparks flying. Jiang Linlin screamed in fright, abruptly pulling her hand back. I looked at her coldly. If you want to eat, fine, bring something to trade. I don't have anything. Jiang Linlin desperately searched her pockets, finding nothing but her phone and lipstick. You do? I pointed downstairs. Your ability is the most valuable commodity. Starting today, if you want my food, you'll have to trade it for crystal cores, or go treat others in exchange for supplies. You're insane. You want to work me to death. Jiang Linlin screamed in despair. That feeling is too painful. It's like draining my bone marrow. I don't want to heal anyone ever again, then starve to death. I made a move to take the plate away. No, Jiang Linlin panicked. She looked at the steak, and greed in her eyes overcame fear. I'll go treat it, but right now, no one has supplies. Where can I go to trade? Just then, the iron gate downstairs was being pounded with a deafening noise. Miss Jiang, save us, my wife has been scratched. Bodhisattva Jiang, please, save my daughter. The crowd outside was growing larger. Not just from this building, but even people from the neighboring building had heard the news and rushed over. The news spread faster than a virus. There was a living Buddha here who could cure the zombie virus. I forced out a cold smile. Look, business is here. I kicked Jiang Linlin's leg. Go on, your followers are calling you. Remember, no supplies, no steak. If you don't want to starve to death, get up and get to work. Jiang Linlin trembled as she stood up, looking at the frenzied crowd downstairs, her eyes revealing genuine fear. For the first time, she finally understood that what she had taken was not glory, it was a one-way road to hell. 7. The next 2 days were a living hell for Jiang Linlin. In exchange for a piece of bread or a bottle of water from my hand, she had to overuse her supernatural abilities again and again. At first, the neighbors were still grateful to her, offering the last bits of biscuits or jewelry from their pockets to beg for her help, but soon, the greed of human nature was laid bare. I've already kowtowed to you. Why won't you save me yet? My family has no food left either. Can't you just do a good deed? If you can save people, why don't you save everyone? Are you being picky? Moral coercion, like a boomerang, struck Jiang Linlin hard. The slightest hint of hesitation or exhaustion from her would invite endless insults and curses. I think she just wants to hoard and drive up prices. What saint? She's just a bloodsucker, Jiang Linlin cried out to me for help. Yeah, I can't take it anymore, I really can't, they're going to drive me to my death, can you help me chase them away? I was sitting on the windowsill, wiping the blood off my axe. I had just gone out to clear away a few zombies trying to climb up, and I collected a few crystal cores while I was at it, hearing her sobs. I didn't even lift an eyelid. Lin, how can you say that? This is the highlight moment you've always dreamed of. Look, everyone is talking about you now. You're the absolute center of this neighborhood. Isn't this the admiration of thousands you wanted? I don't want it anymore. You can have this blessing if you want. Jiang Linlin grabbed her hair in despair. I'm in so much pain. I feel my life force slipping away. I'm going to age. I'm going to die. She stared at herself in the mirror in horror. In just 2 days, her once full and rosy cheeks had sunken. Fine lines had even appeared at the corners of her eyes, and her hair had become dry and frizzy. The holy light system operates at the cost of burning the host's life force. In my previous life, I aged rapidly in this way, looking like a 50-year-old woman in my 20s. Change the system back. Jiang Linlin suddenly lunged at me, her eyes wild with madness. You must have a way to change it back, right? You're a reborn person, you must know. I kicked her away. It can't be changed back, I said coldly. This is the path you chose yourself, you have to walk it through. Even if you have to crawl. Just then, the rumbling sound of an engine echoed from the distance. Several modified armored vehicles crashed through the zombie horde and came to a stop at the base of the residential building. A team of fully armed soldiers disembarked from the vehicles, with an officer at the front shouting through a megaphone, "Is there any survivor here who has awakened a healing type ability? We are the 3rd base rescue team. Please show yourself immediately." Jiang Linlin's previously lifeless eyes instantly lit up. Army, base, that's official, that's order. She felt she was finally saved. Me, it's me, I'm here. Jiang Linlin rushed desperately onto the balcony, frantically waving the white dress that was so dirty its original color was unrecognizable. I'm a healer, come save me. She turned her head and glared at me fiercely, her face revealing the wild joy of a petty person who has gotten their way. Shen Yu, you're finished. The military is here. I'm a nationally protected animal. Once I get to the base, I'll make sure they arrest you, seize all the supplies in your hands, and force you to be my slave. Watching her face twist with excitement, I silently put away the axe. Fool, you think that's Noah's Ark. In reality, it's a truck headed for the slaughterhouse. 8. Jiang Linlin was escorted downstairs by the soldiers, surrounded like a star in the spotlight. It really is the extremely rare holy light healing type, exclaimed the lead officer, Chen Gang, his hands trembling with excitement after witnessing Jiang Linlin use her ability to heal an injured soldier. Quick, protect Miss Jiang, she's a strategic level resource. Jiang Linlin sat in the armored vehicle, holding the chocolate and hot water given by the military, proudly raising her chin, and regaining her arrogant demeanor. She pointed at me, who had just come downstairs, and said to Chen Gang, "Sir, this person is my bodyguard, although she doesn't treat me well and hoard supplies. Considering she's a strength type, we can reluctantly bring her along. It just so happens we need someone to block bullets on the road." She deliberately emphasized the words, hoard supplies, hoping to use the military's hand to suppress me. Chen Gang gave me a cold glance, his gaze lingering on my fire axe for a moment, showing a hint of disdain. Strength type, they're everywhere. Since Miss Jiang has spoken, go squeeze into the truck at the back. Remember, your mission is to protect Miss Jiang with your life, understand? In their eyes, healing types are priceless treasures, while strength types are just slightly higher level cannon fodder. I didn't argue and obediently boarded the troop transport truck at the back. The carriage was packed with survivors and ordinary soldiers, the air thick and foul. Jiang Linlin sat in the air-conditioned armored vehicle ahead, enjoying VIP treatment. The convoy started up and headed toward the base. The journey was far from peaceful. A tide of zombies surged forward like ocean waves. Fire, protect Miss Jiang's car. The armored vehicle ahead opened fire with all its might, but there were too many zombies, and soon several crawlers broke through the defense line, leaping onto the truck behind. Chaos erupted inside the carriage as survivors screamed and shoved each other. A crawler opened its bloodthirsty maw and lunged at a young mother. The soldiers had no time to reload their magazines. Die, I growled under my breath, activating my violent ability instantly. The fire axe in my hand turned into a blur. The crawler's hard skull was split open like a watermelon, black blood splattering everywhere. Immediately after, I swung my hand back and sliced another zombie that was trying to ambush me in half at the waist. The movements flowed smoothly, fast, accurate, and ruthless. The carriage fell silent in an instant. The soldiers who had looked down on me before were now staring wide-eyed, as if looking at a monster. This kind of explosive power and reaction speed is definitely not something an ordinary strength type could achieve. I shook the blood off the axe and sat back in the corner, expressionless. Through the gaps in the vehicle cover, I saw Jiang Linlin in the armored car ahead, terrified and screaming as she huddled in Chen Gang's arms, unable to even cast a single healing light. A true strong person does not need to rely on charity or protection. Only when we reach the base does the real game begin. There, we will encounter that man, the base leader, Lei Lai, who pushed both her and me into the abyss in our previous life. He is also the true nightmare that Jiang Linlin is about to face. 9. The base gates slowly opened. The towering walls and heavily armed guards brought a sense of relief to all the survivors. Jiang Linlin received the highest level of reception as soon as she stepped out of the car. A man in a black trench coat with a sinister gaze approached. He was Lei Lai, the dictator of this base. Is this the healing lady, Lei Lai? Looked Jiang Linlin up and down, his gaze as if he were examining a rare treasure, or perhaps a prime piece of meat. Yes, it's me, Jiang Linlin. Intimidated by his presence, shyly smoothed her hair. I'm Jiang Linlin, and I can cure the zombie virus. Excellent. Lei Lai gave a satisfied smile, reaching out to put an arm around her shoulders. From today on, you are a core member of the base. You'll live in the A District Villa and enjoy the highest privileges. Jiang Linlin was so excited she nearly fainted. She turned her head, scanning the crowd with a smug expression, searching for my figure, eager to show off to me. At this moment, I was mingling among the refugees, undergoing quarantine. You there, the strength type 1, Chen Gang pointed at me. Go report to the barracks in Zone C and join the suicide squad. Zone A is heaven, Zone C is the slums, and the suicide squad is synonymous with a death sentence. Jiang Linlin saw this scene, covering her mouth as she laughed, her body trembling with amusement. She silently mouthed 2 words to me, you deserve it. However, she didn't know that in my previous life, I was also carried into Zone A in the same way. Then I was taken into that white building called the medical room, which was actually a blood extraction station. Lei Lai didn't care about any saintus, he only cared about whether antibody serum could be mass-produced, and the blood of healing type ability users was the best raw material. That night, I demonstrated my value in the C-Zone barracks. A soldier thug tried to snatch my bunk, but I crushed his wrist with one hand and threw him out the window. My berserk system keeps leveling up in battle, and now I've reached the 2nd tier. In this era where most are only at the 1st tier, it's practically a dimensional strike. Early the next morning, I received a mission to go out with the team to search for supplies. This is a suicide mission with an extremely high mortality rate, but I feel right at home. In the zombie-infested ruins of the city, I frantically harvest crystal cores, and the system's experience bar skyrockets. Meanwhile, Jiang Linlin is lying in a luxurious laboratory in Zone A. Miss Jiang, for the safety of the base, we need to draw a little of your blood for research. Is that okay? The doctor in a white coat said with a smile. No problem, it's just a little blood. Jiang Linlin, still lost in Lei Lai's sweet words from last night, generously extended her arm. However, the blood draw did not stop. 1 tube, 2 tubes, 3 tubes, until she felt dizzy. The doctor pulled out the needle. All right, that's enough for today, we'll continue tomorrow. Will I have to give blood again tomorrow? Jiang Linlin panicked a little. Of course, developing antibodies requires a large number of samples. The doctor's smile turned somewhat eerie. Since Miss Jiang is enjoying the best treatment, she naturally has to pay the corresponding price. This is Chief Lei's order. Hearing Lei Lai's name, Jiang Linlin dared not resist. She thought it was only temporary. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of her hellish life. Half a month later, I had already been promoted from a soldier in the suicide squad to the captain of the special forces. Thanks to my terrifying combat record, my name has spread throughout the outskirts of the base. Bloody Azura, Shenyu. Every time a horde of zombies attacks, I always charge at the forefront, wielding a massive axe that leaves nothing standing in its way. Lei Lai also noticed me and tried several times to recruit me into the core team, but I politely declined each time, citing my love for freedom. I have the capability, and he wouldn't dare to force me. That day, I passed by the laboratory in Area A. Inside came a piercing, agonized scream, and the voice sounded somewhat familiar. Let me go, I won't smoke anymore, I want to see Chief Lei. I'm his woman. Shut up, the boss said we must collect 1,000 milliliters. Today, I stopped in my tracks and looked inside through the one-way glass. Jiang Linlin was strapped to the operating table, with tubes inserted all over her body. She was emaciated, with sunken eye sockets. The long hair she had once been so proud of had all fallen out, and her scalp was covered with blue veins to stimulate her to produce more blood with healing energy. The doctors even kept cutting her, forcing her to heal herself, and then drawing her blood. This cycle of torment is more painful than death. It seemed as if she sensed my gaze. Jiang Linlin turned her head and saw me outside the glass. Though she couldn't see clearly, she recognized my silhouette. "Yaya, is that you, Yaya?" She struggled frantically, her voice hoarse like a broken bellows. "Help me, save me. I know I was wrong. I don't want to be the savior anymore. I want to go home." I pushed the door open and walked in. The doctors, upon seeing it was me, all bowed their heads respectfully. "Captain Shen, I am now the top combatant in the base, and no one dares to offend me." I walked up to the operating table and looked down at Jiang Linlin from above. She looked as if she had seen a lifeline, tears and snot streaming down her face. "Yaya, you're so capable now, you can definitely take me with you, right? I'm your best friend. Don't you remember how we used to go shopping together, how we used to?" "Linlin," I interrupted her, my voice calm and steady, without a trace of emotion. "Do you remember how I died in my previous life?" Jiang Linlin froze, her eyes filled with confusion and fear. What previous life?" I leaned down and whispered softly in her ear. "In the previous life, the one lying here, drained dry, was me. You were the one who stole this system. You were the one who personally pressed that button. You said, 'This time, the glory of the Savior is yours.'" Jiang Linlin's pupils contracted violently, looking at me as if she had seen a ghost. She finally understood. She understood why I had given the system to her, understood why I was smiling. "You did it on purpose. You're a devil, Shen Yu, you're a devil." She screamed in a breakdown, wanting to lunge and bite me, but was tightly restrained by the straps. I straightened up and adjusted my gloves. "Enjoy this glory, my dear best friend. You earned it with your life." After saying that, I turned and left. Behind me came Jiang Linlin's desperate wail, more miserable than the growls of zombies. 11. The zombie emperor has been born. It happened even faster than anticipated. A mutated giant zombie, standing 3 meters tall, led tens of thousands of zombies in a horde, surrounding the base. The alarm blared through the sky. Lei Lai panicked. The base's fortifications were as flimsy as paper in the face of absolute power. "Hurry, bring out that healing body," Lei Lai roared. Jiang Linlin was dragged onto the city wall like a dead dog. By now, she was no longer in human form, her mind completely unclear. "Throw her down," Lei Lai commanded. "The flesh and blood of a healing type ability user is a fatal attraction to zombies. Use her as bait to lure away the zombie emperor." "No, please don't." Jiang Linlin weakly shook her head, utterly powerless to resist. She was hoisted up by several soldiers and dangled over the edge of the city wall. Below is a dense sea of zombies, with a foul stench filling the air. At that moment, I walked up, axe in hand. "Shen Yu, Captain Shen, quick, lead your team to break through from the flank." Lei Lai saw me as if he had spotted a savior. I looked at Lei Lai, then glanced at Jiang Linlin suspended in mid-air. "Break out, no problem," I smiled, then suddenly raised my hand and swung the axe, cutting the rope that was suspending Jiang Linlin. Jiang Linlin screamed as she plummeted downward. "What are you doing?" Lei Lai roared in anger, drawing his gun and pointing it at me. "Help her complete her final mission." I dodged the bullet in a flash, instantly appearing before Lei Lai and grabbing his neck. "Besides, I never said I would help you break through the encirclement." Crunch, I effortlessly snapped Lei Lai's neck. The base is in chaos. I stand on the city wall, looking down below. Jiang Linlin has fallen into the zombie horde. Because she is a high-level healing body, the zombie emperor does not devour her immediately. Instead, like a cat toying with a mouse, it slowly tears her limbs apart. "Shen Yu, save me, it hurts so much." Jiang Linlin writhed among the pile of corpses, looking up at me on the city wall, extending a hand that was now only bone. She wasn't completely dead yet. The powerful vitality of a healer had now become the most vicious curse, preventing her from dying even when she wanted to, forcing her to remain conscious and feel every moment of being devoured bite by bite. I watched this scene coldly, without a single ripple in my heart. "This is the ending you wanted, Linlin." The zombie emperor seemed to sense my gaze, raised its head, and roared at me. I tightened my grip on the battle axe in my hand, with lightning coiling around my entire body. reaching the peak of my berserk state. Time to harvest the final experience package. 12. The base has fallen, flames soaring into the sky, but I don't care. I leaped down from the city wall, crashing into the horde of zombies like a meteor. Boom, lightning erupted, instantly turning the surrounding circle of zombies into charred remains. I tread over mountains of corpses and seas of blood, step by step, advancing toward the zombie emperor. At this moment, Jiang Linlin was left with only a torso, yet she still clung to a breath of life. She watched me, who descended like a god of war, as the last glimmer of light in her eyes faded away. Was it regret, envy, or relief? No one knows. The zombie emperor threw down Jiang Linlin's remains and lunged at me. Come at me, I laughed heartily, advancing instead of retreating. The power of the berserk system was pushed to its limit, and the fire axe in my hand had long been replaced by an alloy combat knife scavenged from Lei Lai's warehouse. The blade gleamed like a waterfall. This was a one-sided massacre. 10 minutes later, I stood atop the massive corpse of the zombie emperor, holding a purple glowing crystal core in my hand. The low-level zombies around, having lost control from their leader, began to scatter and flee in all directions. I turned my head and glanced at a pile of rotten flesh not far away. That was Jiang Linlin. She was finally dead completely, without even a chance to turn into a zombie. I put away the crystal core and glanced at the base behind me, now reduced to ruins. It's over. It's also a new beginning. I took an off-road vehicle out of my space and started the engine. A crackling sound came from the car radio, likely a broadcast from another survivor base. I stepped on the accelerator, and the car sped across the wasteland, kicking up clouds of dust. In the rearview mirror, the rising sun cast its light on the scarred earth, blood red, yet carrying the hope of a new beginning. I rolled down the window, and the wind tousled my short hair. I couldn't help but curve the corners of my lips. This is the true post-apocalyptic life that belongs to me. After hearing the stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.